Sponsored by Surfshark. Usually when I post a hands-on video from a phone launch, the frame stays tight on the new devices, in keeping with the Mr. Mobile mission of making the product the star. But lately, I've been inspired by folks like Parker Burton and Clint from LGR and, well, my own boredom with my content to punch out a little. So, when Motorola invited me to its 2-day NYC Flip Fest to announce 3 new Razrs, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to pull back the curtain on these press events that manufacturers use to make sure a product gets off to the best start possible. So strap on your press badge and join me behind the scenes at the Motorola RAZR 2025 debut. Often for me, a media event starts with a flight. But 6 years ago, I moved to New York City specifically because so many media events happen here. So this time, my Motorola morning starts with an Uber from my South Brooklyn apartment to the Midtown Manhattan venue. Motorola provided a $100 voucher for the purpose, which, if you've ever been to New York City, you'll know means it covered my ride to the event and, well, not much else. On the road, and throughout the day, I'm capturing B-roll with last year's RAZR Plus. Because even for this incidental footage, I try to make my videos as useful as possible. So, using the product that's about to be replaced is a good way to demonstrate, in this case, one of Motorola's historic weaknesses that I hope the new RAZR addresses: video quality. It's actually so bad that I need more cameras than that, so I'm also filming with the iPhone 16 Pro and the Meta Ray-Bans. And when I arrive at the event, I'll be shooting with my Sony a7S III.
Have a good one. That's okay. Come over here. I was just going to mention to the viewers that the minute I see my first friend, all productivity collapses.
And then he realizes,
especially
it's me,
when it's Narav,
and
and I'm like,
for days
actually, I probably shouldn't be seen on film with you, to be honest. See you inside.
Happy to have you. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here. Thank you. Swag.
Ah, swag. Every event has it, and it's always some combination of socks, snacks, stationery, or all of the above. Motorola went fancy with a leather notebook this time, along with a matching lanyard for the also ubiquitous Access badge.
What is this, like a lanyard for ants? There we go.
Fun fact, I've kept every badge from every event I've attended over the past 13 years. What a dork. In addition to all the delightful distractions they represent, reuniting with friends at these events also offers the opportunity for entertainment. Such as when reporter-turned-Qualcomm Communications friend Sasha Segan shows up with vintage Motorola handsets, just for fun.
I heard Motorola's releasing some flips, so I wanted to make sure I had the right Motorola flips on me.
Very important to put them into context.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, the low point of any tech event these days is the inevitable keynote. These used to be fun, even if they were occasionally unhinged. But somewhere along the way, tech companies started surrendering gobs of stage time at their own events to partners, so those partners could drone on in tepid teleprompter monologues about how excited they are to announce whatever features they're shoehorning into the product we're actually there to see. And by the time the actual product people get up there, the well is so thoroughly poisoned that there's no recovering the audience at that point. Remember, I'm a theater guy. I know a little something about this. Again, this isn't a dig specific to Motorola. This is almost every tech event of the past decade or so. And I'm begging companies to stop it. You know how every time Panos Panay does a presentation at Amazon, we all fall over ourselves to gush about it on social media? It's annoying and weird, I know, but it's because we're all so grateful that he talks to us like a human. Moving on. All the stuff we learn at most of these events is usually privileged information for a short time, which is held under what's called a news embargo. That just means we agree not to publish our news or reviews before a certain date and time, which is why you'll often see social media or YouTube explode about a new product all at once. The embargo time just came and went, and it's competitive to post as close to that time as possible. So at that point, it's a meat grinder free-for-all. Our next stop is where the fun happens. The demo area. This may look chaotic to some of you, but Motorola actually did a great job here, allocating enough space, even for what felt like hundreds of media and influencers, enough devices for everyone, and even enough natural light. At least for those who've been playing this game long enough that they know to seek it out.
So, fun fact, this guy used to brief me at events like this.
Don't remind me. I really don't need to remind me.
I know this all might seem obvious and maybe not even worth mentioning, but trust me, about a decade ago, while YouTube was still the red-headed stepchild of the media business, companies used to find it perfectly acceptable to give us like 25 minutes of hands-on time in a dark basement with 4 devices split between 20 tubers. Well, after years of feedback from us, and to their credit, a lot of listening on the part of brands, most have gotten the message and provided a proper demo area that doesn't require throwing quite so many elbows. I mean, until people start swooping in on your artfully crafted device diorama, that is.
The noted phenomenon of the stolen shot. You dirtbag, Linsongan. What? Oh, Daniel sent. They're everywhere. You can't avoid them.
Maybe you're the one stealing the
Oh
shot.
no, actually, yeah, that was Phil Burns' shot. I stole it in the first place.
Also in the demo zone, Motorola product experts, armed with Razr-branded chamois to wage the never-ending war against smudges. And alongside them, product managers and even executives who'd had a hand in building the new devices and features. That gave me a chance to ask questions I wasn't able to during the keynote, and also the opportunity to get up close with a pre-release prototype still bearing the engraved identifier meant to combat internal leaks to the media. Even all these years later, I still geek out at stuff like this and hold a little space in my stressed-out soul for gratitude that I've somehow managed to make this my career. Which wouldn't be possible if nobody was watching, by the way, so thank you. Hey, before we leave the demo area, let's actually touch on the devices real quick. 3 new Razrs for North America, anchored by a base and plus model that stay mostly the same as last year in specs and pricing, and a new RAZR Ultra that, at the risk of sounding sensational, is almost certainly the best flip foldable yet from any company. It's pricey, at a penny under $1,300, but every spec on this thing is top-notch, with big upgrades in hinge durability, dust and water resistance, crease visibility, battery size, charging speed, display brightness, and it's now powered by the very best Snapdragon Qualcomm kicks out. Better yet, Motorola swapped out last year's mistake of a telephoto camera for a more sensible 50-megapixel ultra-wide, and it's offered new materials and Pantone partnered colors across the entire lineup. I do wish we'd gotten a bigger design overhaul. I still think the square is just kind of boring. But the new finishes help make up for it. Faux satin, Alcantara, and real wood. A material I've been hoping would return to smartphones since 2015's Moto X. Oh, and yes, there's a dedicated AI button, because of course there is. Tons of LLMs to go with it. But the only AI feature I find remotely interesting is something called Look and Talk. You set the phone up in tabletop or tent mode, and when you glance at it, it detects your gaze and starts listening, so you can issue commands or ask questions without even uttering a keyword. I'll have a review up closer to release, of course, but while you're waiting, I recorded some longer-form impressions with Miriam Jouar on the Mobile Tech Podcast, which I will link in the description when it goes live. Okay, back to behind the scenes. You may have noticed these little discolorations on some of these shots. Yeah, that's dirt on my sensor, caused by me swapping lenses mid-shoot, which I have to do a lot these days because a while back my cats knocked over my camera and damaged it.
Don't get cats. They break your stuff.
Just kidding. I love those little terrorists. As phones have gotten less revolutionary from generation to generation, their launch events have gotten more elaborate in an effort to sustain the same level of buzz. Motorola wrapped things up on the second night with a big blowout launch party featuring Coco Chanel, Norah Jones, Coco Jones. Sorry, I'm old and out of touch. And this gives me the chance to clarify the modern media landscape a little bit, which at events like this is split between reporters/reviewers and paid influencers. Now, I do have to say, I don't know that any of these folks were actually paid, but thanks to FTC regulation, at least in the US, at least for now, they legally have to disclose it if they are. Anyway, to the outside eye, we're all doing the same thing, but the reality is these two groups have totally different missions. As a reviewer, I'm here to share my honest impressions about the devices, including criticism I feel is appropriate, and the money in my paycheck comes from ads placed on the videos. By contrast, paid influencers are, well, paid by the company hosting them, and their content usually needs to be approved by the company before it can be posted. Now look, when that's properly disclosed, I don't have a problem with it. In fact, I do it myself in places like Instagram, albeit not for smartphone companies. But it is a very different world that plays by different rules to achieve different purposes. Now, you could rightly ask if invitations to these events is itself compensation in a way, including the travel and lodging and entertainment. Now, I've always accepted those because it would be financially impractical for me to run a channel like this without it. And to be honest, it makes for more exciting videos than if I shot everything in my living room. Travel has long been an essential component of my content. But I've also always been clear that if I'm reviewing a product, I don't take money from its manufacturer, and that manufacturer doesn't get any right to approve my content. When a video hits the channel, it's always 100% my own opinion. Motorola or Samsung or whomever is seeing it for the first time right alongside you. And that's true even though I'm a co-founder of Clix, which is working with Motorola to make an accessory exclusively for the RAZR. If you doubt my ability to remain impartial, given that conflict of interest, that is absolutely fair. I think I can. I think I do remain impartial. But it's more important that I give you all the facts, that I disclose, so you can make that call for yourself. Whew. That got heavy, so let me make a more fun disclosure. You know all those phones I accidentally break out in the real world while filming them? Well, I might have finally managed to accidentally break a demo phone at its own launch party on the day of its debut. Because yes, I am that clumsy, and no, I won't go into more detail than that. Sorry, Motorola. And thus we arrive at the end of another fairly typical smartphone launch event. My Uber credits depleted, just like my energy levels, and 2 days compressed into one through the magic of editing, I take the ferry home to South Brooklyn and offer up one final behind-the-scenes morsel. This vlogging thing is fun, but I think it's a young person's game. I used to think VPNs were only for people doing shady stuff online, until I started spending over 100 days a year on the road. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, which I use to keep my browsing between me and the site I'm visiting. Why does that matter? Well, it lets me keep watching my favorite shows even when I'm out of the country. It lets me shop in the currencies I'm used to, bank the same way I always do, and for the same selection of content I'm used to seeing. And when I travel to countries that restrict access to certain sites, like the ones I need to do my job, Surfshark keeps me in business. In short, it's a tunnel to the internet I need that follows me wherever my travels take me. Go to surfshark.com/MrMobile and use code MrMobile at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. This video was shot over 2 days at the RAZR 2025 launch event in New York City, for which Motorola provided Uber codes and food and drink. However, as mentioned, the company received no other editorial input rights of any kind. I'd love to know if you want more peeks behind the curtain like this, or if once was enough. Comment below, or hit me on the socials at Captain2Phones. Until next time, from Michael Fisher, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.